For 13 years, Elara Vance believed her daughter had abandoned her 3 young children. She raised them, fought for guardianship, and built a new life, her heart scarred by the unanswered question of why. Then, Clara returned polished, prosperous, and with a lawyer to reclaim her children, accusing Elara of kidnapping. The clock on the mantelpiece ticked past the 4th hour. Elara's lemon cake, the one with the sprinkle of cinnamon her grandchildren loved, sat untouched on the kitchen table, its icing beginning to crack. She smoothed her apron, the familiar floral cotton now a map of her anxiety. She said an hour, Elara murmured to the empty room, her eyes fixed on the driveway visible through the lace curtains. In the living room, -1-year-old Lily was carefully braiding the hair of a one-eyed teddy bear. 5-year-old Noah was building a fortress of wooden blocks, his tongue poked out in concentration. And in the old playpen, 2-year-old Sam slept, his thumb in his mouth, a soft curl of hair stuck to his damp forehead. They were the heart of Elara's world. These 3 bright sparks left in her care for a mere 60 minutes while their mother, Clara, ran a mysterious, urgent errand. Clara had been a whirlwind at the door. Just an hour, Mum. I promise. There's something I have to do. It's important. Her eyes, the same sea green as her father's, had been wide, shimmering with an emotion Elara couldn't quite name. Not fear, exactly. More like a desperate resolve. She'd kissed each child quickly, her lips barely grazing their heads, and then she was gone. The echo of her old hatchback fading down the suburban street. The first hour, Elara wasn't worried. The second, she called Clara's mobile. It rang out, diverting to a generic voicemail. By the 3rd hour, a cold thread of dread began to weave itself around Elara's ribs. She called again. And again. She texted, "The kids are fine. Just checking in." No response. As evening painted the sky in bruised purples and oranges, the children's questions began. "When is Mummy coming back?" Lily asked, her braiding forgotten. "Soon, darling, soon." Noah's fortress collapsed. "I want Mummy." Sam woke and cried, a grisling, inconsolable sound that no bottle or cuddle could fully soothe. Elara called the police as midnight approached, her voice thin and tremulous. A young officer came, took notes with an air of practiced sympathy. "She's an adult, ma'am. She's allowed to leave her children with a responsible guardian." "Has she done anything like this before?" "Never," Elara whispered, clutching Sam to her chest. "We'll file a missing persons report, but often in these cases, they come back when they're ready." "Ready for what?" Elara wanted to scream, but she just nodded numbly. Days bled into weeks. Clara had vanished. Her rented flat was empty, cleared of personal items. Her bank account was closed. Her employer, a small graphic design firm, said she'd quit without notice. It was as if she had been meticulously erased from the world, leaving only these 3 living, breathing pieces of herself behind. The social workers came. There were discussions of foster care, of the system. Elara, a widow of 5 years, her life a quiet tapestry of gardening, book club, and babysitting, found a ferocity she never knew she possessed. She hired a lawyer with the money she'd been saving for a new roof. She fought. She presented a home filled with love, stability, and a grandmother's devotion. After months of assessments and court hearings, she was granted permanent legal guardianship. The word abandonment was used in official documents. It was a small, sharp stone Elara carried in her soul. Life reformed itself around a new axis. Lily, Noah, and Sam became her sun, moon, and stars. She soothed nightmares that called for mommy, helped with homework, attended school plays, celebrated birthdays with meticulously decorated cakes. She watched Lily blossom into a thoughtful, artistic teenager, saw Noah's fascination with engines turn into a passion for engineering, and cheered Sam's every goal on the football pitch. They called her Gran, and their love for her was deep and real. The ghost of Clara was a presence they all felt a sadness in. Lily's eyes on Mother's Day, A question in Noah's when friends talked about their parents. A blank space in Sam's memory where a mother should have been. Alara answered their questions with gentle honesty. Your mother loved you very much. She had to go away. We don't know why. She kept their mother alive for them through stories and photographs. But she also built a wall in her own heart, a barricade against the searing pain of her daughter's desertion. The why was a locked room she dared not enter. Then, 13 years to the day after Clara drove away, the doorbell rang. Alara was in the garden, teaching Sam how to prune the rose bushes. He was 15 now, all long limbs and easy smiles. Lily, 20 and home from university for the summer, was painting at the easel on the patio. Noah, 18, was tinkering with a motorcycle engine in the driveway. Radio blaring classic rock. The doorbell was an ordinary sound, but it sent an extraordinary jolt through Alara. It was a Saturday afternoon. She wasn't expecting anyone. She wiped her hands on her trousers and walked through the house. Through the frosted glass of the front door, she saw two silhouettes. One was tall and male, carrying a briefcase. The other was slimmer, female, with a posture that struck a dissonant chord in Alara's memory. She opened the door. Time did not so much slow as fracture. The woman on the step was Clara, but it was a Clara remade. Gone was the softness, the slight uncertainty that had always hovered around her. This woman was carved from something harder. Her hair was sleek and cut in an expensive bob. She wore a tailored cream suit. Her face was older, beautifully composed, and utterly unreadable. The sea-green eyes were no longer windows but polished stones. "Hello, Mother," Clara said. Her voice was cool, precise. The man beside her stepped forward. "Eleanor Vance. I am Robert Thorne, Ms. Vance's attorney." He offered a business card. Alara took it without looking. "Clara." The name was a breath, a ghost from her own lungs. "We need to talk," Clara said, her gaze sweeping past Alara into the familiar hallway. "May we come in?" Alara's instincts, honed over 13 years of sole responsibility, screamed to shut the door. But a deeper, more primal pull, the moth to the daughter flame, even one that had burned her, held it open. She stepped back silently. They filed into the living room, the room where the children had played on the day she left. It was now a space of warm comfort, family photos charting a decade of growth on the walls. Clara's eyes flicked over them, but her expression didn't change. "Where are they?" Clara asked, not sitting. "Out back." "Clara, where have you been? What is this?" Robert Thorne placed his briefcase on the coffee table. "Mrs. Vance, my client is here to reclaim custody of her children. Lily, Noah, and Samuel." The words hung in the air, ridiculous, monstrous. Alara let out a sound that was half laugh, half sob. "Reclaim? You abandoned them, Clara. For 13 years. You left them with me for an hour and you never came back. The state gave me guardianship. They are my children now." Clara finally looked directly at her mother. The polished stone of her eyes glinted. "I did not abandon them. I was forced to leave them in what I believed was a safe haven, for their own protection. When I attempted to return, I was prevented. I have spent the last -1 years building a life, stable and secure enough to get them back. And I have spent the last 6 months building a legal case." She nodded to Thorne. The lawyer opened his briefcase. "We are filing a motion to vacate the guardianship order on the grounds of fraud and coercion. We will be alleging that you deliberately manipulated the circumstances of my client's disappearance to effect unlawful seizure of her children. In short, Mrs. Vance, we are accusing you of kidnapping." The floor seemed to tilt. Alara gripped the back of an armchair. "Kidnapping? That's insane. You left. I called the police. I looked for you. You told the authorities I was unstable," Clara said, her voice low and sharp. "You told them I was incapable. You used my past struggles against me." Alara reeled. Clara had struggled with anxiety in her early 20s, yes. After the death of her father, she'd had a difficult period. Alara had mentioned it in the context of her worrying to the social workers all those years ago. It was a fact, not a weapon. But now, in Clara's retelling, it was being twisted into a narrative of malicious intent. That's not true, Clara. I was worried about you. Your worrying resulted in me being declared an unfit mother in absentia. Clara shot back. It resulted in you taking my children. I took care of your children. Alara's composure shattered, her voice rising. Where were you when Lily had pneumonia? When Noah broke his arm? When Sam cried for you every night for a year? I was here. I have always been here. The commotion brought the children. Lily appeared in the doorway, paint smudged on her cheek. Noah and Sam hovered behind her. Gran, what's going on? Lily asked. Then her eyes found the woman in the suit. A frown creased her brow, a slow, dawning recognition fighting 3 years of abstraction. Mum? Clara's facade cracked for a single, fleeting second. A tremor went through her lips. Her eyes softened, filling with a sudden, shocking vulnerability. Lily, she breathed. Oh, my beautiful girl. Noah stared, his wrench hanging forgotten at his side. Sam just looked confused. Who's that, Gran? The moment of raw recognition was snapped shut as Clara visibly rebuilt her walls. She turned back to Alara. This is what's best for them now. A fresh start? With their mother. We will see you in court. She strode out, Robert Thorne following with a last, impersonal nod. The door closed. The house was silent, the air thick with the aftershock of an earthquake. Lily was the first to speak, her voice small. Gran? What does she mean, see you in court? Alara looked at the three. Faces she loved more than life. Itself faces filled with confusion, shock, and a budding fear. She wrapped her arms around herself. She wants to take you away. The following weeks were a descent into a legal and emotional nightmare. Papers arrived. Thick, cold packets of legalese that used words like petitioner, respondent, and best interests of the child to tear at the fabric of their lives. Clara's petition was brutal in its efficiency. It painted Alara as a controlling, manipulative grandmother who had exploited a moment of crisis in her daughter's life to permanently steal her children. It referenced Clara's historical anxiety as proof of her vulnerability to such manipulation. It claimed Clara had always intended to return, but had been driven into hiding by Alara's false reports and the threatening legal environment she had created. It was a story of monstrous betrayal, and it was all lies. But they were plausible lies, backed by Clara's newfound poise and resources. Robert Thorne was a shark from a prestigious family law firm. Alara's lawyer, kindly Mr. Higgins, who had handled the guardianship, was a guppy in comparison. He advised a settlement, a compromise. Custody battles are ugly, Alara. They tear families apart. Maybe we can negotiate for generous visitation. They are trying to take my children for the second time, Alara said, her voice steely. I will not negotiate their lives. The children were caught in the whirlwind. Lily, torn between a lifetime of love for her gran and the haunting, mythical figure of her returned mother, became withdrawn, pouring her conflict onto canvases of stormy grays and turbulent blues. Noah reacted with anger, directing it at the absent Clara. She doesn't get to waltz back in and play mum. She left, Gran is our mum. Sam was simply lost, his adolescent world upturned. Friends at school whispered. Teachers looked at them with pity. Clara made attempts at contact, as mandated by the early court proceedings. She took them to a stiff, awkward lunch. She sent elaborate gifts. She talked of her life now, a successful partnership in a tech startup, a penthouse apartment in the city, opportunities for travel and elite schools. It was a glittering, foreign world she offered, a stark contrast to Alara's comfortable, worn sofa existence. She's trying to buy us, Noah muttered after receiving a state-of-the-art gaming laptop. Maybe she's just trying to make up for lost time, Lily ventured, though she sounded unsure. Alara watched it all, her heart breaking daily. But she also fought. She gathered evidence, 13 years of school reports, medical records, photos, birthday cards signed Love, Gran. She compiled a timeline of her desperate attempts to find Clara. She found the old mobile phone, its charger long lost in a drawer. On a whim, she took it to a repair shop. Maybe, just maybe, there were old texts, a clue on it. The shop owner managed to power it up. The screen glowed to life, a relic from another era. Alara scrolled through the message inbox. Most were old, mundane. But there, sent the day Clara disappeared, was a thread from an unknown number. The first message, to Clara. It's done. The debt is clear. But he's furious. He's talking about collateral. You and the kids aren't safe. You need to go. Now, don't go home. Don't use your cards. Disappear. I'll explain to your mom. Clara's reply, sent just minutes later, taking them to Mom's. For an hour. We'll figure it out from there. Unknown number, nitrogen monoxide. Too obvious. He'll look there first. You have to go alone. Make it clean. They're safer with her if he thinks you've cut ties. It's the only way. A long pause. Then, Clara's final message, tell her I'm sorry. Tell her I love them. Make sure they know. The unknown number. I will. Go. Alara stared at the tiny screen, the world receding. It wasn't abandonment. It was a flight. A terrified flight from someone or something so dangerous. Clara believed leaving her children was the only way to protect them. The he was a mystery. The debt, collateral. It sounded like something from a crime thriller, not her daughter's life. And then there was the last line. Make sure they know. Know what? Who was the unknown sender? They had promised to explain, had they? Alara had received no explanation, no word. Nothing but silence for 13 years. Had this person failed? Or had they chosen not to come? And why was Clara now claiming Alara had driven her away? When these messages suggested a deliberate, agonizing choice made under threat, the hearing for temporary custody arrangements loomed. Clara's narrative was powerful. Alara's evidence of stable care was strong. But the shadow of parental rights and Clara's convincing performance as a wronged woman seeking redemption were formidable. Mr. Higgins was nervous. The why of her original disappearance is key. Alara, if we can't counter her claim that you coerced her, the court may see her as a victim and you as the obstacle to family reunification. The fact that she's now established and stable works heavily in her favor. The night before the hearing, Alara couldn't sleep. She wandered the house, her fingers brushing over photo frames. In her bedroom, she opened the bottom drawer of her dresser, where she kept the most precious of memories. Her wedding album, Peter's old watch, the children's first shoes, and a small, plain manila envelope. Peter had given it to her 2 days before he died of the cancer that ate him alive with terrifying speed. He was skeletal, his voice a rasp, but his eyes held their usual gentle intensity. Alara, my love, this is for Clara, but not now. Only if she ever loses her way, or if you need to understand. Promise me you won't open it unless you have to. Promise me. She had promised. For 13 years, through all the pain and confusion, she had kept her promise. The envelope had become a quiet monument to her husband's last wish, a sealed mystery she had never felt entitled to solve. It was addressed, in Peter's shaky hand, to my daughter. Now, holding it, feeling the slight bulge of its contents, the text messages burning in her mind, Alara knew the time for promises was over. Peter had said if you need to understand. She had never needed to more. With trembling fingers, she broke the seal. Inside were several items. A faded, creased photograph of a young Peter with an arm around a handsome, dark-haired man she didn't recognize. They were both smiling, but the other man's eyes held a reckless glint. Beneath it was a stack of old letters, and a smaller, sealed envelope with "for the judge" written on it in Peter's later, firmer script. But it was the single sheet of notepaper on top that she read first. It was Peter's confession. "My dearest Alara, if you are reading this, then the past has come knocking, and I am not there to stand with you. For that, I am more sorry than I can say. I have kept a terrible secret, one I thought I had buried. It concerns Clara's true parentage. The man in the photo is Leo Vane. He was my closest friend, and a man of dangerous appetites. We invested in a business venture together, a nightclub. It was a front for Leo's gambling operations. I was young, stupid, and in awe of him. When it failed, we were left with significant debts to very bad people. Leo's solution was to double down, to steal. I refused. We had a terrible fight. He accused me of betrayal. He said, 'You'll pay, Peter, one way or another.' I met you not long after. You were my salvation. I cut all ties with Leo, told him the debt was his. I thought I'd escape. Then, a year after we were married, I received a letter. It contained a lock of baby-fine hair and a picture of you, leaving your teaching job. The note said, 'A daughter for a debt. Yours is beautiful. Mine will be too. We're even.' Alara, I was frantic. Leo had met you once, at our wedding. He knew. I went to the authorities, but there was no proof, only threats. I hired a private investigator. We discovered Leo had a child, a daughter, born around the same time as Clara. He had vanished with her. The investigator believed Leo saw it as a twisted trade. His child's future for mine. A perverse balancing of the scales. He was unstable, capable of anything. I lived in terror for years, watching Clara, guarding her, never telling you why I was so overprotective. The fear eventually faded but never left. When I got sick, the old dread returned. What if Leo resurfaced? What if he saw Clara as unfinished business? I made arrangements. The investigator, a man named Silas Creed, is trustworthy. His contact details are enclosed. I have paid him a retainer for life to watch over Clara from a distance. If she is ever in danger from Leo or his associates, Silas will know. He has instructions to intervene, to get her to safety, and to explain everything to you. This envelope is my backup plan in case he cannot. Clara is my daughter in every way that matters. She has my heart and your spirit, but biologically, she is Leo Vane's child. I have loved her with every fiber of my being, and my greatest regret is that this shadow has fallen over her life. Forgive me, my love. Protect our girl. Yours, always, Peter. Alara sat on the floor, the letter fluttering in her hand. The world had just been unmade and remade. Clara wasn't Peter's biological daughter. Her real father was a dangerous criminal named Leo Vane. Peter's secret debt, his fear, it had trickled down through the decades. The he in the text messages, it had to be Leo. He had come collecting. The collateral was Clara and her children, her grandchildren. Clara hadn't abandoned them out of cruelty or instability. She had run from a monster, following a desperate, covert plan to draw him away from her children. She had left them with the one person she believed was safe, Alara, and someone this Silas Creed was supposed to explain. But he never had. Why? And now Clara was back, not with the truth, but with a lawsuit and a lie. Why would she lie, unless she didn't know the truth herself? Unless she still believed she was running from something else, or believed Alara was part of the threat. Alara looked at the smaller envelope marked for the judge. She didn't open it. Peter's words were clear. This was for authority, for the law. She slipped the contents back into the larger envelope, her mind racing. She had to find Silas Creed. The contact details were sparse. A name, Silas Creed. An APO box number in a city 200 miles away. No phone, no email. It was a dead end from a bygone era. The temporary custody hearing was a disaster. In the sterile courtroom, Clara was compelling. She spoke of her grief, her struggle to build a life worthy of her children, her mother's smothering influence that had forced her hand. Her lawyer presented Alara as an overbearing, figure who had never approved of Clara's life choices. Alara's evidence of care was acknowledged, but framed as the actions of a woman who had seized an opportunity. Mr. Higgins did his best, but he was outmatched. He mentioned the text messages, but Clara dismissed them. An old friend who was worried about me. I was in an emotionally abusive situation at the time. I was confused. My mother's pressure was a large part of that. She didn't elaborate on the situation, but the implication was clear. Alara was the abuser. The judge, a weary-looking man named Judge Henderson, listened intently. He granted Clara temporary visitation rights, expanded from the supervised lunches to weekend stays at her city apartment. He scheduled a full custody trial for 3 months hence. The bond between the children and Mrs. Vance is evident and strong, he said, but the presumption is always in favor of a fit biological parent. Ms. Vance has presented a credible case of re-establishment and stability. The children's wishes will be considered, given their ages, but the primary focus is their long-term welfare and the rehabilitation of the parent-child relationship. It was a crushing blow. Alara watched, numb, as Clara walked out with a slight, victorious tilt to her chin. Lily, Noah, and Sam were devastated. The first weekend visit was a tense, tearful affair. Sam called Alara, crying, wanting to come home. Noah refused to speak to Clara. Only Lily made a fragile effort. Drawn by the ghost of the mother she barely remembered, Alara knew she was running out of time. The full trial would likely result in Clara gaining primary custody. She had to act, using money she couldn't spare. She hired a new lawyer, a sharp, no-nonsense woman named Miriam Chen. She gave Miriam the envelope. "This was from my late husband. It contains information that completely changes the context of Clara's disappearance. There's also an envelope inside addressed to the judge. I haven't opened it." Miriam's eyes widened as she read Peter's letter. "This is explosive. If true, it provides a powerful motive for Clara's actions that has nothing to do with you. It could reframe her entire narrative, but we need corroboration. This Silas Creed is crucial. He's the link between Peter's secret and Clara's disappearance. I have a P.O. box. That's it. Then we find him," Miriam said decisively. She had contacts, resources Alara lacked. She initiated a discreet search. While Miriam hunted for Creed, Alara focused on the children. She called a family meeting. The 3 of them gathered on the big sofa. She held Peter's letter in her hands. "There is something you need to know," she began, her voice thick. "About your mother. About why she left." She told them. About Peter and Leo Vane. About the debt, the threat, the twisted trade. About Peter's lifelong fear and his final arrangements. She read them the relevant parts of the letter. She showed them the text messages from the old phone. The room was utterly silent when she finished. Lily's face was pale, her hand over her mouth. Noah looked stunned. Sam frowned, trying to process the adult complexities. "So, Mum left to protect us?" Lily whispered. "From a man who might be her real father." Noah added, his anger momentarily displaced by shock. "Yes," Alara said gently. "I believe so. I didn't know any of this until last night. Your grandfather kept it secret to protect us all. And someone, this Silas Creed, was supposed to explain it to me when she left. He didn't. I don't know why. And I don't know why your mother is lying in court now. Unless she doesn't know the full truth either. Maybe Creed never explained it to her. Maybe she's been living in fear or under someone's influence all this time." The revelation changed the atmosphere. The anger toward Clara softened, replaced by a bewildered compassion and a new, more frightening question. What had she been running from? And was it still out there? 2 weeks later, Miriam called. "I found him. Silas Creed. He's retired, living off the grid up north. He's agreed to meet. But he'll only talk to you, Alara, alone. The drive to the mountains was long and winding. Alara's small car climbed through pine forests, the air growing cooler. Following Miriam's directions, she turned onto a gravel track that led to a modest, weather-beaten cabin overlooking a vast, silent lake. A man stood on the porch as she pulled up. He was in his late 60s, lean and wiry, with a face like tanned leather and eyes the color of flint. He watched her approach, not with hostility, but with a deep, weary wariness. "Mr. Creed, I'm Alara Vance." He nodded once. "Come in." The cabin was Spartan but neat. He motioned for her to sit at a rough-hewn table and placed 2 mugs of strong, black coffee between them. "Peter was a good man," Creed said, without preamble. "A scared man, but good. He paid me for 20 years to watch over your daughter." "I did." "Then you know what happened 13 years ago," Alara said, her heart hammering. "Why she left. Why you never came to explain, as Peter asked you to." Creed took a slow sip of coffee. Leo Vane resurfaced. Not the man himself. He'd died in a prison fight years earlier. But his organization, what was left of it, had been taken over by his son, Kieran. Kieran was smarter, colder than his father. He found out about Clara, saw her not as a sister, but as a loose end. A potential heir who could challenge him, or a liability to be controlled. He decided to collect. He contacted her, called in the old debt with interest, threatened her, threatened the children. Alara felt cold. So she ran. She panicked. She called me. Peter had given her a number to call if she was ever in serious trouble. Told her I was an old friend who could help. I told her to get the kids to a safe place and disappear. I was going to extract her, set her up with a new identity. The plan was for her to leave the children with you for a few days, just until I could get her clear and assess the threat level. But Kieran's men were closer than I thought. They were watching her flat. When she left with the kids, they followed. Creed's expression darkened. I saw it. I was surveilling her place. I saw the tail. I called her, told her under no circumstances to lead them to your house. If Kieran knew where the children were, they'd become permanent leverage. She had to make a clean break, make it look like she was abandoning them. It was the only way to make you and the kids seem worthless to him, and to give her a chance to run. It was a brutal call, but it was the right one. She sent those texts to a burner phone I provided, then ditched it. I was the unknown number. Alara remembered the final text. Tell her I'm sorry. Tell her I love them. Make sure they know. You were supposed to explain. You promised her you would. I tried, Creed said. And for the first time, his stoic mask slipped, revealing profound regret. I went to your house 2 days later. I was casing it, making sure it wasn't being watched. It was clean. But as I approached, I saw you through the window. You were on the sofa, the 2 little ones asleep on you. The older girl reading you a story. You looked shattered, but the children looked safe. Love. And I saw a patrol car drive by slowly. Your police report had put a casual eye on the place. At that moment, I made a judgment call. What judgment? Alara breathed. Kieran was vicious and relentless. If I contacted you, entered your life in any way, I could lead him to you. The police interest was a thin shield. My presence could crack it. Peter's instructions were to protect Clara, and by extension, her children. The best protection, I believed, was for you and the kids to have no connection to me, to Clara, to any of it. You were a grandmother who'd been left with her grandkids. A sad, common story. Kieran's people investigated you, of course. They found a grieving widow, a stable home, no strange contacts. They concluded Clara had indeed cut and run selfishly, leaving her baggage behind. You were boring. You were safe, so I stayed away. I made sure the financial trail Peter left for Clara small, untraceable fund was activated for her when she needed it. I monitored you all from an absolute distance, ready to intervene if Kieran's gaze ever turned back your way. It never did. He believed Clara was alone and on the run, which she was. Alara was trembling with a mixture of fury and awe. "You let me think my daughter hated me. You let those children think their mother didn't want them. For 13 years, I let you live," Creed said flatly. "And I let them grow up without a target on their backs." Kieran Vane's organization deals in drugs, arms, and human misery. He wouldn't have hesitated when Clara established herself again, under a new name, with new wealth. She did it carefully, through fronts and legitimate business. She thought she was finally beyond his reach. She thought she could come back. "But she's lying in court," Alara said. "Why not tell the truth?" Creed sighed, a long, weary exhalation. "Because the truth is still dangerous. Kieran Vane is very much alive. If his sister suddenly reappears, telling tales of being forced into hiding, with 3 children who are his nieces and nephew, it's a complication, an embarrassment, a vulnerability. He might decide to clean house. Clara's legal fiction that you are the villain is safer. It paints her as a victim of family drama, not organized crime. It keeps the real monster in the shadows. And, I suspect, part of her is still angry. Angry at the world, at the situation, and yes, at you, for living the life with her children that she was forced to give up." He leaned forward. "But she loves them, Mrs. Vance. That part was never a lie. The agony in her that day, it was real. She sacrificed everything for them, and now she wants them back. She believes she's earned it, and that her way the lie is the only safe way to have them." Alara sat back, her mind reeling. The full, tragic picture was now clear. 2 women, both loving the same children, both making unbearable choices based on partial information and mortal fear. "What do I do?" she whispered, not just to Creed, but to the universe. "You have the envelope Peter left for the judge," Creed asked. She nodded. "Use it. It contains DNA evidence, a sample from Leo Vane that Peter obtained years ago, and a notarized statement from Peter about the circumstances. It proves Clara's paternity and the nature of the threat. It's the key to the truth. But understand, once you use it, you bring everything into the light. Kieran Vane will likely find out. The calculus of safety changes. If I don't use it, I lose my grandchildren to a lie," Alara said, strength solidifying in her voice. "And they live with a mother who is living a lie, looking over her shoulder forever. That's not safety. That's a gilded cage." A faint, grim smile touched Creed's lips. "Peter said you were the strongest person he knew." He scribbled something on a piece of paper. "This is how to contact me if you need to. And this," he handed her a flash drive, "is everything I have on Kieran Vane's current operations. Anonymous, untraceable. Insurance policy. The judge will know what to do with it." The full custody trial began under a pall of tension. The courtroom was packed. Clara, flawless in a sober navy dress, sat with Robert Thorne. Alara, with Miriam Chen, clutched the manila envelope in her lap. The children were present, their faces drawn. Thorne laid out his case with surgical precision. He painted a picture of a grandmother who had weaponized her daughter's momentary crisis. He called character witnesses who spoke of Clara's success and stability. He was building an unassailable fortress of legal argument. When it was Miriam's turn, she began differently. "Your Honor, this case has never been about a grandmother's overreach. It has been about a mother's impossible choice made under dire threat, and a conspiracy of silence, meant to protect the very children at the heart of this room." She called Alara to the stand. Alara testified about finding the text messages. She testified about Peter's envelope. Then, Miriam approached the bench. "Your Honor, we wish to enter into evidence a sealed communication from the late Peter Vance, addressed to the court, which provides critical context for the respondent's actions 13 years ago." Judge Henderson looked intrigued. "Approach." Miriam handed him the small envelope. He opened it, read the contents slowly. His eyebrows rose. He examined the attached documents, the DNA report, Peter's sworn affidavit, the old photo. His face grew grave. He looked from Alara to Clara, who was watching with a confused, anxious frown. "Counselor," the judge said to Thorne, "or assess, now, in my chambers, both attorneys." And, he added, his gaze sweeping the room, Mrs. Vance. In the wood-paneled quiet of the judge's chambers, the atmosphere was electric. Judge Henderson steepled his fingers. "Miss Vance," he began, his voice low, "the respondent has submitted evidence alleging that your disappearance was motivated by a credible threat to your life and the lives of your children from a criminal organization led by one Kieran Vane, who is alleged to be your half-brother. This evidence includes DNA proof of your biological parentage. Do you have any knowledge of this?" Clara had gone deathly pale. She stared at Alara, betrayal and shock warring in her eyes. "What is this? What evidence?" "Answer the question, Ms. Vance," the judge pressed. I was threatened 13 years ago. A man. He said he was collecting a debt. He mentioned my father. I didn't understand. He threatened to take my children. I was told to run. To make a clean break to complete this story and write its hook at first. Here is the completed story with a different, powerful hook at the beginning, fulfilling your request for a conclusion. In a desperate courtroom battle, Alara's only hope is a sealed envelope left by her late husband, marked for the judge. Inside is not just a letter, but a DNA test and a confession that shatters Clara's world. She is the biological daughter of a dangerous criminal, Leo Vane. Her disappearance wasn't abandonment, but a terrified flight from Leo's vengeful heir, Kieran, who threatened her and the children. The judge, seeing the evidence, is stunned. He looks from the proof of a deadly threat to Clara, who stands accused of lying to the court. His final question hangs in the air, not about the law, but about the fragile hearts in the gallery. Do they know about this? He means the grandchildren Lily, Noel, and Sam, who have just learned their mother fled a monster, and that the monster is their grandfather. Alara meets his gaze, the weight of 13 years of silence and new, terrifying truth pressing down. Her reply is a whisper that holds the future of her family. Not yet. Judge Henderson's chambers fell silent. Clara's polished composure had crumbled entirely. She stared at the documents on the judge's desk, the DNA report linking her to Leo Vane, her father Peter's affidavit detailing the old debt and the twisted threat, the photo of two young men whose friendship had cursed to generations. This can't be," she stammered, her voice that of the terrified young woman from 13 years ago, not the poised plaintiff of minutes before. She looked at Alara, her eyes wide with a dawning, horrible understanding. "You knew all this time." "I only opened the letter last month," Alara said, her own voice thick with grief for the truth. "After you came back, after you sued me, Peter made me promise never to open it unless I had to." "He knew," Clara whispered, the betrayal seismic. "He knew he wasn't your biological father, but he loved you as his own. He lived in fear of Leo Vane finding you. He hired Silas Creed to watch over you." At the name, Clara flinched. Robert Thorne, her lawyer, looked deeply uncomfortable, his legal strategy evaporating in the face of a criminal conspiracy. "Ms. Vance," Judge Henderson said, his tone solemn, "this evidence suggests you disappeared under a credible, mortal threat. It reframes your actions as protective, not negligent. However, your decision to initiate these proceedings under a false narrative accusing your mother of malfeasances, a serious matter. It speaks to ongoing fear, or perhaps manipulation. Did Kieran Vane facilitate your return, your new stability?" Clara wrapped her arms around herself, seeming to shrink in the elegant suit. I thought I was finally safe. I built a life he couldn't touch, through layers of companies. I thought if I came back as someone else, someone strong, wronged, I could just slip back in, take my children and disappear into a normal life with them. The lie was a shield. I thought if the world saw me as a victim of a family feud, not a mob target, he'd have no reason to look. And your mother? Why make her the villain?" A tear finally escaped, tracing a path through her foundation. "Anger," she admitted, "the word a confession. Every birthday card she sent me, secretly, every photo of the kids growing up. It was a life I was missing. A life she had with them. I hated that she got to tuck them in while I was looking over my shoulder. It was easier to blame her than the ghost of a father I never knew." Alara's heart ached. The wall she'd built in her own heart cracked, not with vindication, but with a sorrow so profound it stole her breath. Her daughter had been living in a different kind of prison. The court cannot ignore the existence of an active threat to these children, Judge Henderson stated, gathering the papers. That changes everything. The best interests of the child is not served by placing them in a line of fire, or with a parent operating under such extreme duress and deception. However understandable. He looked at both women. This case is no longer a simple custody dispute. It is a matter of witness protection and family reconstitution under extraordinary circumstances. I am adjourning the trial indefinitely. I will be contacting federal authorities with this evidence." He gestured to the flash drive Alara had provided from Creed. "Guardianship will remain with Mrs. Vance, pending a full risk assessment. Ms. Vance, you will have supervised visitation only, under security protocols to be determined. Your whereabouts and the children's must be protected." Clara nodded mutely, the fight gone out of her, replaced by a weary defeat. The safe house was bland but comfortable. A generic townhouse in a quiet suburb nowhere near Alara's old home. Lily, Noel, and Sam were there, their lives uprooted yet again, but this time with an explanation that, while terrifying, was real. Clara sat across from them in the living room, a security detail discreetly outside. The lies had been stripped away. She had told them everything about the phone call from Kieran, the terror, the awful choice to run, the long years of hiding and missing them. "I thought I was keeping you safe by leaving," she said, her voice raw. "And then I thought I could come back and just erase the bad parts. I was wrong. I hurt Gran, and I hurt you, and I lied." Noah, ever practical, was the first to speak. "So this Uncle, he's still out there? The authorities are building a case with Silas Creed's information," Alara said, coming in with a tray of tea. "He's in hiding too now. They believe Kieran's organization is being dismantled. It will take time." Lily looked at her mother, really looked, seeing not the villain or the saint, but a scarred, complicated woman. "You should have told us the truth. We could have handled it. You were children," Clara said. "We're not anymore," Sam said with a surprising firmness. "And we deserve to know why." There was a long silence, filled not with anger, but with a heavy, shared sadness. "What happens now?" Lily asked. Alara looked at Clara, then at the three young adults who were her world. "Now," she said slowly, "we learn how to be a family again. Not the one we were, or the one we pretended to be. A new one. It won't be in my old house. It might not look like anything we imagined. It will have rules, and security, and therapists." She managed a small, tired smile. "But it will have the truth, and it will have all of us in it." Clara reached out, tentatively, and took Alara's hand. The gesture was awkward, fraught with 13 years of pain and misunderstanding. But it was a start. Outside, the sun set on a different street, in a different life. The unopened letter had been opened, its secrets unleashing chaos and danger. But it had also unlocked the door to the why, and in that terrible, liberating truth, there was finally a fragile chance to rebuild. Not as it was, but as it could be, a family forged not just from love, but from survival, honesty, and the courage to face the shadows of the past together.